Welcome to Fitch Paint and Repairs Garage. Today's project, we got the Dyna back up on the lift, my Y Glide. This is my 1999 Dyna Y Glide. And for those of you who have been following the page, you kind of understand what I've been dealing with on this bike. I've been having some problems with rear wheel alignments, the vertical alignment on the wheel. It was appearing to be off, but after putting the meter on it and checking the front and rear, they were in line with one another. And then here recently, the Biketoberfest event, my parents came to ride with us, and we all went for a family ride. And I started noticing that when I was coming up to a red light or stop sign and applying the rear brake, I got this weird chattery clunky noise happening. And I stopped out on the side of the road and checked, and I had lost one of the pin bolts off of the brake caliper. This pin bolt here had fallen out, and so my brake was lifting up. And so we stopped our ride, and I used the front brake to ride over to the Harley store and purchased new pins and installed them right there at the store, and took off to test it, and immediately it was still doing the same thing. And so coincidentally, I think the brake caliper was just a lucky find, and it wasn't actually the problem I was having. And I do believe the problem that I am having is the rear rubber mount isolator, the rear motor mount. It connects to the back of the transmission. Transmission, of course, bolts to the motor, and that's what mounts the bike to, provides the it helps limit the vibrations of the motor transmitting through the frame into the handlebars and foot pegs. It's a big, heavy rubber mount that has, I believe, 4 bolts, 2 mount bolts that run through, like lag bolts that go through with a nut on them, and then 2 Allens that go through. And I do believe what the problem is that rubber is either deteriorated really bad, or it's cracked, or it's possibly broken free. And so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start removing some parts to get to it. On my particular bike, it's kind of hard to get in behind the rear brake reservoir to get to the bolts. I'm going to have to see if I can get up behind it with a wrench to get onto them. But I do believe that that's what I'm going to end up having to do. I'm going to end up having to pull that rear isolator out and replace it. But the first thing I'll do is I'll before I purchase it, I'll pull it out and do an inspection. And you pull it out, you throw it in your vice bench, and then you manipulate it, and because they're hard to see on the bike, and you really can't do a very good inspection on it unless you fire the bike up and you notice the engine's like cocking itself. And so, but I do believe that that's probably what I'm feeling is that engine at low speeds and braking all that torque is what's causing the weird noise and the vibration. And then also I have a vibration, that seems to resonate stronger at certain speeds when you're accelerating or cruising down the road. It's really, really, really pronounced when you're cruising down the road. At about 60 mile an hour, it's kind of there, and then it goes away up as you get to about 65, comes back at about 70 kind of thing, and then goes away as you get closer to 75. Very, very seldom do I ever ride that fast on this bike. Usually I'm in that 55, 60 mile an hour range on it, and unfortunately, unless I have to be on the highway to make some miles or something, and that's the only time I'm up 70, 75 mile an hour. So I do believe rear isolator is bad, and so we're going to pull that out. We're also going to go ahead and do the front one. Might as well, since we're going to do the rear one. The front one's a lot easier to do. But what we'll do is I'll show you real quick if you guys can see down in there. It's an item that's down in the swing arm down in there, located up under here. And this is it up under here. And you can kind of see the 2 Allens on the back right there. And then there's a couple through bolts that are You can spot them back in there behind under the swing arm, but the reservoir's right in the way. Literally smack right in the way. And then on the other side, you have to remove the rear belt guard to gain access to the nuts right there, the bolts right there. So I can get to them fairly easy with a swivel and an extension. Hopefully I can get a wrench up under there. And to gain all this access, the easiest way to do that is remove your rear foot peg. And there's just one Allen that holds it in place right here, and then it slides through these bars. And it's real easy to remove the whole thing. It just slides in place. It goes in there like that. And that's it. So you remove that one Allen, and the whole thing slides out. Super easy. A lot of people don't know that. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to, because of all the alignment issues and everything like that, and if I'm going to go that far with it, I might as well remove the swing arm and check the bushing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the whole rear end of the bike. I'm going to pull the swing arm. I'm going to check the bushings in the rear swing arm, get the shocks off, get the wheel off, get all this off, and go through and check all that. And then the front isolator is pretty simple, and they're very similar to one another. So you see they have these through bolts and then these Allens, and it's a big heavy rubber. See how bad that is? And here's one thing, you see that oil filter right there? When you change your oil runs down on it. Guess what? The rubber that they're made of and the oil are not compatible. It's one of the reasons why they deteriorate so fast. Is very poor design by them. The company definitely didn't put much thought in that, because they've been running that exact same setup for a long time. And FLs have that round version of it up there, and same issue. The oil comes right off, runs right down on it, and then also if you use any degrease or anything, well, that's also harsh on rubber because it dries it out and makes it brittle. So mild soapy water is all you ever want to use on it. Mild soapy water, and keep it clean, as clean as possible, and they'll last longer. Now, I have heard that the aftermarket versions of these are the old style, so you want to go with the new style, the OEM new ones. So that's probably what I'll do, is I'll get brand new ones from Harley. And the trick to doing these is to do one at a time. Don't do both of them, because if you do both of them, there's nothing holding the engine except for that top mount, and then it'll get out of alignment, and then you have to do the chassis alignment, engine alignment procedure. It's in the factory manual, so it's pretty easy to do. You just loosen all your mount bolts, start the bike, idle it for a few, about 15-20 seconds, shut the bike off, torque down everything, and it should be in alignment. And then you put the inclinometer on the brake rotor on the front, get the bike standing 90 degrees, then you put the brake rotor inclinometer on the rear brake rotor and check and see what the difference is. They should be within, I believe, a half to 1 degree off from one another. So if you can get them both at 90, even better. So mine are actually both at 90. So I don't know what the hell the deal is going on. So I'm thinking it's probably just that rear isolator is either damaged, broken, or just deteriorated really badly. So we're going to pull it off, and we're going to see if we can, go through and replace it. I don't believe we actually went over and done that at school. I don't remember pulling the rear isolator out of anything like that. But we might have done a front isolator on an FL or something. But I don't recall doing any of that at school. It's been 10 years ago, so I don't remember everything I went to school and learned. Come on. That's why I have it all written down over there, so I reference it. So, well, just kind of a heads up on the Drifter project. She's out of state right now, where she's done enough until the Dyna gets put back together. I'm going to ride the Drifter. She is listed for sale. I had a few people that are interested in it. Most of the people who are interested in it are just looking for a bike. They don't understand what this bike is. They're not well versed in what a drifter $19.99 drifter really is worth, and the fact that it's a collector's situation. Uh, so she's a very good, clean, well-running motorcycle, and she's worth what I'm asking. The longer I keep it, the more I'm going to do to the bike. So, the more she's going to be worth. So, but I don't want to clock a lot of miles on it. Right now, I'm a little over 500 miles on the break-in since I've done the engine work and all that on the bike. Repaired the transmission, second gear, kept popping out of second gear. So, we replaced all that, got that fixed inside the engine, went through new gaskets and all that stuff and everything. I got to do a break-in oil change on it since I'm now over 500 miles. You want to do a break-in oil change when you do heavy engine work, somewhere in the 500 to 1,000, just like a new bike. So I got a little over 500. I'll probably take her out and ride her a little later today. I did put the windshield on it, but that windshield's junk. It's hazed and damaged, but we're gonna see how good it works. So I don't want to ride it around and have it rattling and all that stuff. I prefer not to ride with a windshield. I wear a full face helmet, because of glasses issue. So we're gonna work on the drifter. We're gonna pull the rear stabilizer out of it later today. I'll take some pictures. Stay posted. Have a good one.